The veil between waking and sleeping is thin, a fragile membrane separating our conscious reality from the deep currents of the subconscious. For most, dreams are fleeting echoes, forgotten with the morning light. But what if, for some, that veil tears, revealing glimpses of a future yet unwritten? What if the echoes of tomorrow whisper in the darkest hours of night, reshaping destinies and altering the very fabric of history? Tonight, we journey into the shadowed realm, where the mind's deepest fears and highest insights have rippled through time, impacting empires, revolutions, and the very course of human endeavor. Prepare to witness the profound power of premonition as we uncover 10 prophetic dreams that irrevocably changed history. The air in the White House was heavy, not just with the weight of a nation at war, but with a palpable dread that clung to President Abraham Lincoln. It was early April 1865, mere days before the Civil War's brutal end. For several nights, a recurring dream had plagued him, a vision so vivid, so chilling, that it had settled deep within his bones. He spoke of it to his closest confidants, describing a pervasive silence, broken only by muffled sobs, guiding him through the hallowed halls of his own residence. He saw throngs of mourners, weeping, surrounding a catafalque in the East Room, guarded by soldiers. When he asked who lay within, a guard whispered, "The president. He was killed by an assassin." This dream, recounted by Ward Hill Lamon, Lincoln's bodyguard and biographer, was not a vague premonition, but a precise, terrifying tableau of his own demise. He confessed his unease, the dream's stark imagery refusing to fade. On April 14, 1865, just 5 days after Lee's surrender, Lincoln attended a play at Ford's Theater. A single gunshot shattered the quiet evening. He was carried across the street, dying hours later. His body was then taken to the East Room of the White House, where it lay in state, surrounded by weeping mourners, guarded by soldiers. The dream was fulfilled with harrowing accuracy, a final tragic prophecy for a nation's grieving leader. In ancient Egypt, a land where life hung precariously on the annual flooding of the Nile, a powerful pharaoh was tormented by a pair of profoundly disturbing dreams. He saw 7 fat cows emerge from the river, only to be devoured by 7 gaunt, sickly cows that followed. Then 7 healthy ears of grain sprouted, soon swallowed by 7 thin, scorched ears. The visions left him deeply troubled, for they felt not merely like nightmares, but like portents of immense significance for his prosperous kingdom. His wisest interpreters, the magicians and sages of Egypt, could offer no satisfying explanation. The fate of an empire seemed to hinge on understanding these unsettling images. Desperate, the pharaoh was eventually introduced to Joseph, a Hebrew prisoner renowned for his uncanny ability to interpret dreams. Joseph revealed the dream's chilling truth. The 2 visions represented the same coming events. 7 years of abundant harvest would be followed by 7 years of devastating famine. This was not merely a warning, but a divine mandate for action. Guided by this prophetic insight, Pharaoh appointed Joseph to oversee the storing of grain during the years of plenty. When the famine struck, Egypt was prepared, its granaries full, providing sustenance not only for its own people, but for surrounding nations. This dream, interpreted and acted upon, secured Egypt's survival, solidified its power, and redirected the course of a civilization, establishing an enduring legacy. Elias Howe, a relentless American inventor in the mid-19th century, was consumed by a single, frustrating problem: how to create a sewing machine that actually worked. For years he had toiled, designing and redesigning, but the fundamental issue persisted: the needle. Traditional needles, with their eyes at the blunt end, simply could not create a continuous lock stitch. The mechanical challenge seemed insurmountable, pushing Howe to the brink of despair. His dream of revolutionizing the textile industry remained just that, a dream. Then, one night, exhausted and disheartened, he fell into a fitful sleep. He dreamt he was in a distant, primitive land, captured by a tribe of cannibals who threatened him with their spears. As they surrounded him, he noticed a peculiar detail. Each spear, made of bone or wood, had a small hole pierced through its tip. He awoke with a jolt, the image seared into his mind. The solution, so obvious now, struck him with profound clarity. The eye of the needle did not belong at the top, but at the point. Within days, Howe had constructed a functional sewing machine, incorporating his revolutionary needle design. This single, terrifying dream unleashed an industrial revolution, transforming clothing manufacturing, empowering women in new trades, and forever altering the fabric of global commerce. The summer of 1816, remembered as the year without a summer due to volcanic ash veiling the sun, saw Lord Byron, Percy Bysshe Shelley, and his future wife, Mary Godwin, confined to a villa by Lake Geneva. To pass the time during the incessant rain, Byron proposed a ghost story competition. Mary, still a teenager, struggled to conceive a tale terrifying enough. For days, her mind remained blank, the pressure mounting. The challenge, however, ignited a profound intellectual spark within her, mingled with the chilling tales shared among the literary circle. Then, late one night, a waking dream, lucid and vivid, gripped her imagination. She saw a pale student of unhallowed arts kneeling beside the thing he had put together. She witnessed the hideous phantasm of a man being brought to life, then recoiling from his creator. The vivid imagery, the horror of the reanimated corpse, the terror of the student fleeing his monstrous creation, it all coalesced into a single terrifying vision. She awoke with a shriek of delight, crying, "I have found it!" From this profound nocturnal visitation, Mary Shelley penned Frankenstein, or the modern Prometheus. This dream-forged narrative not only birthed the science fiction and horror genres, but also initiated a timeless philosophical debate about creation, responsibility, and the perilous boundaries of human ambition, forever shaping literature and cultural consciousness. In the early 20th century, the atom remained a perplexing enigma. Scientists understood that electrons existed, but their arrangement within the atom was a profound mystery. The prevailing plum pudding model, where electrons were scattered within a positively charged sphere, failed to explain observed phenomena. Niels Bohr, a brilliant Danish physicist, grappled tirelessly with the problem, seeking a coherent structure that reconciled classical physics with emerging quantum theories. The answer, however, seemed to elude the realm of conscious thought and logical deduction. One night, exhausted from his intellectual struggle, Bohr dreamt a vivid, striking dream. He saw himself sitting on the sun, with planets orbiting around him in a vast ethereal dance. The planets, bound by unseen forces, moved in precise elliptical paths. He awoke with a sudden, profound realization. The solar system, a macrocosm of orbiting celestial bodies, offered the perfect analogy for the atom. Electrons, he reasoned, did not randomly scatter, but orbited the nucleus in fixed, quantized energy levels, much like planets around a sun. This dream provided the intuitive leap necessary for Bohr to develop his revolutionary atomic model, fundamentally changing our understanding of matter, paving the way for quantum mechanics, and laying the groundwork for the atomic age. In the small Welsh mining village of Aberfan, October 1966 was a month of relentless rain. Above the village school, a massive tip of coal waste, hundreds of feet high, grew increasingly unstable. 9-year-old Errol Mai Jones was a bright, joyful child. 2 days before the unimaginable tragedy, she told her mother about a dream. "I dreamt I went to school," she recounted, "and there was no school there. Something black had come down all over it." Her words, dismissed as the innocent musings of a child's slumber, held a chilling clarity. The very next day, she again spoke of her dream, describing a black mass that had overwhelmed everything. On October 21, 1966, after days of torrential rain, the saturated coal tip collapsed, sending a massive black wave of slurry thundering down the mountainside. It engulfed Pantglass Junior School and several houses in its path. Errol Mai Jones, along with 115 other children and 28 adults, perished beneath the suffocating mass. Her dream, recorded by her mother and later presented at the official inquiry, served as a haunting, undeniable premonition of the cataclysm. It became one of the most poignant and debated examples of psychic foretelling, forever etched into the memory of a grieving nation, a stark reminder of human vulnerability in the face of nature's unleashed power and industrial oversight. The Roman Republic, in its final throes, was a cauldron of political intrigue, civil war, and shifting loyalties. Marcus Tullius Cicero, the orator, statesman, and defender of republican ideals, watched with profound anxiety as the once stable system crumbled around him. Haunted by the uncertainty of Rome's future, he sought divine guidance, hoping for a sign of a leader who could restore order and prosperity. It was during this period of immense turmoil that Cicero experienced a profoundly significant dream, one that he meticulously recorded and later recounted. He dreamt he was in the Capitoline Temple, the Sacred Heart of Rome, when a procession of boys passed before him. Jupiter Optimus Maximus, the king of the gods, pointed to one boy, declaring, "This boy, Cicero, must be led by you to the Capitol. He will be the leader of Rome." The boy, dressed in a toga protecta, was then given a laurel wreath and mounted on a chariot. Days later, Cicero was introduced to a young relative of Julius Caesar, a boy named Gaius Octavius, just returned from Apollonia. Cicero immediately recognized him from his dream. This seemingly insignificant encounter, guided by a divine vision, set in motion the political patronage that propelled Octavian to power. He would become Augustus, Rome's first emperor, forging an empire that would define Western civilization for centuries. It was a cold, isolated November in 1619. René Descartes, a young philosopher and mathematician, had sequestered himself in a heated room, seeking solace from the biting winds and, more importantly, a breakthrough in his intellectual quest. He believed the entire edifice of human knowledge lacked a solid foundation, built on shifting sands of opinion and tradition. He sought a new, certain method for acquiring truth, a unified science grounded in irrefutable reason. The task was monumental, consuming his waking hours. On the night of November 10th, after a day of intense contemplation, Descartes experienced a series of 3 vivid and profoundly influential dreams. The first was terrifying, filled with spectral figures. The second brought comforting sounds and visions of an encyclopedia. The third, and most crucial, presented him with an anthology of poetry, within which he found a verse asking, "Quod vitae sectabor iter?" What path in life shall I follow? He interpreted these dreams as a divine revelation, a clear sign that his true path lay in uniting all sciences under a single rational method. This singular night of prophetic dreaming provided Descartes with the impetus and conviction to abandon his previous life and dedicate himself entirely to developing his revolutionary philosophy. His work, born from this dream, would lay the foundation for modern rationalism, radically reshaping Western thought and the pursuit of scientific truth. Otto Lowy, a German pharmacologist, was deeply intrigued by the mystery of how nerves communicate with muscles and organs. The prevailing theory suggested direct electrical transmission, but Lowy suspected a chemical intermediary. The precise experiment to prove this, however, eluded him for years. The solution remained just beyond his grasp, a persistent intellectual itch that he could not scratch. One night in 1920, the answer arrived not through conscious thought, but through a vivid, almost urgent dream. In his dream, Lowy saw a clear experimental setup. He took two isolated frog hearts, one with its vagus nerve still attached, the other without. He stimulated the vagus nerve of the first heart, causing its beat to slow. Crucially, in the dream, he collected the perfusate, the liquid bathing the heart, from the first heart and dripped it onto the second heart. The second heart also slowed, despite no direct nerve stimulation. He awoke with a jolt, the entire experiment laid out with stunning clarity. He rushed to his laboratory in the early hours of the morning and replicated the dream exactly. The results confirmed his hypothesis. A chemical substance, which he named Vagustaf, later identified as acetylcholine, was responsible for transmitting the nerve signal. This single revelatory dream led to a fundamental discovery in neurobiology, earned Lowy the Nobel Prize, and revolutionized our understanding of the nervous system and brain function. In the tumultuous years preceding the rise of Augustus, his wife, Livia Drusilla, a woman of sharp intellect and formidable ambition, found herself burdened by the anxieties of her husband's perilous political ascent. The path to power in Rome was fraught with enemies and uncertainties, and Livia often sought omens and signs, reflecting the deep-seated Roman belief in divine intervention. It was during this period of profound national and personal transition that a remarkable dream visited her, a vision that spoke directly to the destiny of her husband and, by extension, the destiny of Rome itself. Livia dreamt of an eagle soaring overhead, which then dropped a white hen, clutching a laurel branch in its beak, directly into her lap. The hen was perfectly white, and the laurel branch bore ripe berries. Upon awakening, Livia, interpreting this as a divine message, carefully planted the laurel twig. From this single branch grew a mighty laurel tree, flourishing in their garden. From its branches, the emperors of Rome would pluck the laurels they wore as crowns of victory and triumph. This dream was not merely a personal omen, it became a powerful symbol, widely known and believed, that validated the divine favor upon Augustus and his burgeoning dynasty. This dream, and its subsequent fulfillment, provided a potent psychological endorsement for the new imperial order, solidifying the foundation of the Roman Empire for centuries to come and irrevocably shaping the future of Europe. From the halls of ancient Egypt to the laboratories of modern science, from the battlefields of civil war to the quiet rooms of literary creation, we have witnessed the profound, undeniable impact of dreams. These were not mere nocturnal fantasies, but intricate tapestries woven with threads of foresight, intuition, and revelation. They whispered warnings that saved nations, unveiled designs that sparked industrial revolutions, and illuminated scientific pathways that reshaped our understanding of the universe. The stories of Lincoln, Pharaoh, Shelley, Bohr, and so many others stand as testaments to a realm beyond conscious thought, a space where the barriers of time and possibility seem to dissolve. They remind us that the human mind, in its most vulnerable and unguarded state, possesses a capacity for insight that transcends logic and expectation. Perhaps the greatest mystery is not that these dreams occurred, but that we often dismiss the echoes of our own subconscious. For in the deepest quiet of the night, as the world sleeps, the seeds of tomorrow may be sown, forever altering the landscape of history. The question then remains, what unwritten future might yet be revealed in the silent tapestry of your own dreams?